How's it going, everyone? Want to talk several updates on various PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 topics. We have a bunch of updates on CD Projekt Red. No, I will not be talking about the ridiculous rumor about Sony acquiring CD Projekt Red. I don't even know how that gained any traction. But then again, I've been duped by some wild rumors before, but yeah, that's not gonna be happening. CDPR also came out about that, and usually acquisition stuff doesn't break out of nowhere like that. We'll be talking about some topics regarding The Witcher, Cyberpunk 2077, and Phantom Liberty, the expansion, which will be getting an update here very shortly, so we'll cover that. Elden Ring will be getting a major expansion, and we have a bit of an update on that as well. And I want to talk a little bit about Alan Wake 2. A lot of discussion regarding the fact that the game will be seeing a digital-only release. See a lot of pushback over this. We'll talk that at the end of this video. But first of all, do want to talk CD Projekt Red and all the updates from them. First of all, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt has cracked 50+ million copies sold, an astoundingly successful number for The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. On top of that, the whole franchise has sold 75 million. Now, you might be wondering, wow, why has The Witcher 3 sold so much more than the other two titles combined? Well, that's because The Witcher 3 was released on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. Witcher 2 was initially released on a PC, then it got an Xbox 360 port, but Witcher 2 wasn't that popular even when it came out on 360. And Witcher 1 only saw a PC release, although that game is getting a full-on ground-up remake, so that'll be pretty exciting. Speaking of which, development of the next Witcher game is ramping up at CDPR, with it taking the majority of resources after Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty, and Phantom Liberty should be launching later in 2023, and it was confirmed that Phantom Liberty will be present at Summer Game Fest Play Days, so we might be seeing some gameplay of it, and an update, hopefully a release date. Especially as the rhetoric around Cyberpunk 2077 has completely shifted, comparatively speaking, to what it was in December of 2020. I remember leading up to the release of Cyberpunk 2077, I was even thinking in my head, bro, people are way too excited about this game. The fact that it had like 3 delays, I just had a bad feeling that the game was going to be a colossal disappointment, and it was, but since then, the expectations have completely shifted to what Cyberpunk 2077 is. It's gotten a plethora of updates, and most people, if you're playing it, you're either playing it on PC or on next-generation consoles, and that mitigates all the performance issues, or the majority of performance issues, if you have a decent build or you are just playing on PlayStation 5. And we do know that CDPR will be doing another entry into the Cyberpunk universe, which I think is a good idea. Even with the reception of 2077, they invested so much into crafting this universe and this world that just giving up on it after one game, and that game did in fact sell really, really well. Yes, it might be a little bit of an uphill battle to win people over with 2078 or whatever they decide to call it, but ultimately I think it's going to do pretty darn well. Especially if the promotion is right, and, you know, you saw with the reception of the game since it's gotten fixed up, since people can get it at a discount, and since a lot of people watched Cyberpunk Edgerunners. Like, Edgerunners was a darn good anime television series on Netflix, and that ultimately got more people to check out Cyberpunk as well. There's a lot they can build off of with Cyberpunk as a whole, and hopefully Phantom Liberty does do a pretty good job. So, excited for all of that, and again, Phantom Liberty at Summer Game Fest Play Days, and hopefully sees a release in the latter portion of 2023. Moving on from that, according to Lance McDonald, Elden Ring was supposed to have 2 DLCs, but From Software ended up merging them into one big expansion. This was noted via a Discord page, and it is making the rounds right now. You know, From Software does a pretty darn good job with DLC content, and if you look at stuff like Bloodborne: The Old Hunters, if you look at the Dark Souls 3 DLC packs, like, they do a pretty darn good job. So if they want to, you know, bring out a sizable expansion for Elden Ring, price it at, let's say, $29.99, I'll be 100% okay with that, because I have faith in From Software that if they're going to charge, you know, $20 or $30 for an expansion or DLC, that it's going to be sizable amount of content, and already Elden Ring is such a vast and replayable experience that you really got your money's worth with that game when you dropped your $60, but you know, to get an extension on that for another $30, I think is completely acceptable, so hopefully it will be a sizable expansion, and, you know, From Software at this point, they are one of the most consistent developers on the planet. You look at FromSoft and you look at Capcom, who Capcom is a publisher, but you get the idea. Capcom and FromSoft, not only are they both consistent, but they consistently put out high-quality games, so, you know, they're releasing quite a lot of titles. You know, Capcom as a publishing label is a little bit different, but, again, you know, Capcom's regularly putting out big big titles. From Software's regularly putting out big titles. Like, can you imagine From Software is going from releasing Elden Ring 18 months later, 18 months after that, they're releasing Armored Core 6, and probably within the next, 6 to 9 months after Armored Core, we'll have this Elden Ring expansion out as well. Like, they are just so consistent and firing on all cylinders, so excited to see more of the expansion that they have in the works right now. Lastly, I do want to talk a little bit about Alan Wake 2, because I should have seen this coming, but the announcement of the game being digital only really didn't you know, upset me that much. But then I saw the rhetoric on social media, and then I'm thinking, okay, yeah, I can definitely see why people are upset, especially because if you're the type that you want to get your physical copies of the game, you're gonna be very upset about this, and you're gonna be a little bit vocal about it. Alan Wake 2 is in fact digital only, so if you guys don't know about it, it'll be launching on the Xbox Store, the PlayStation Store, and the Epic Games Store. Now, from my vantage point, I imagine that Alan Wake 2, a big reason that this game is being published by Epic Games is so that they have a massive game to really push the Epic Games Store, and it's their own published game, so chances are it's not going to be a timed exclusive. Rather, it's going to be on the Epic Games Store forever. That does require a sizable investment to require this game to get out the door. Maybe they realize, hey, since our biggest focus is to push the Epic Games Store, we really don't care about a physical release since the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series release is just more of a side thing. That is my hypothesis of the situation. I don't know that for a fact. Obviously, they ultimately want this game to be profitable, but I would imagine that the amount of resources it would cost to get a physical copy of this game, to get, you know, out the door, would be outweighed by actual physical sales. Now, the argument can be made that, hey, those people that were going to buy the game physically anyway, this time they're going to buy the game digitally. That's going to up our digital sales, and ultimately, we're going to generate even more revenue. You can look at it that way. It's really kind of uncharted territory, and we won't know until Alan Wake 2 really drops, because when was the last time that a major AAA title got a digital-only release? I really can't remember the last one. Like, at a game at the level of an Alan Wake 2, I can't remember one that only got a digital release. Now, THQ Nordic chimed in a response to Shinobi 602 and tweeted out, at Alan Wake and at Remedy Games, I mean, we did the disc version of Alan Wake for PC back in the day in case you missed it, and just because one person or company does not love physical, there is plenty who still do. Give it some thought. We'd love to go at it again, full circle and all. So, how about that? THQ Nordic partnering with Epic Games to get out a physical release of Alan Wake 2? Feel like that would be something that would be advantageous to them, and it is a little bit jarring that this game isn't going to have a physical release, but it should be noted, this won't be a $70 game. It will be $60 on the PlayStation Store, and in fact on PC, it will be $50. Now, to be fair, there's a digital deluxe edition that'll knock up the price to $80 on consoles, and then $70 on PC, and that does include the expansion pass, so it's pretty notable content, so keep that in mind as well. But $50 for a game on PC for a new release, that given that, you know, Jedi Survivor just came out and that was $70, that is at least a nice thing to do. And I think with digital versus physical, you can make the argument, oh, why not just release the physical copy at $70, and then if you want to buy it digitally, it'll be $60. Well, the issue with that is retailers would not be all too happy about that, and you want to have a good relationship with your retail partners, and you want to show them, hey, we're going to have parity with our digital release of the game as well as our retail partners being able to sell the game at the same price, and we're not going to undercut our own retail partners. I believe that's also an element of the story that you have to pay attention to for those that are making that argument, as far as, you know, physically the game being $70 and then undercutting your retail partners and releasing a digital version at $60. I think, you know, that wouldn't be that great of a strategy. That's just my 2 cents. Again, with stuff like that, I am not all too knowledgeable, but I think a physical release would do fairly well. Hey, just release it physically, charge $60 for it, and maybe you can even do where it's, you know, has a shorter physical print run, but I think people would ultimately be pretty excited about that, and I think it would add a little bit of FOMO, that element where collectors would be rushing out to get the game right after release, because maybe you want to make the argument, hey, we don't want to continue printing retail copies for a long term. I don't know, I'm sure you can work something out as far as that's concerned, but that's going to do it for me. Again, CD Projekt Red firing on all cylinders when it comes to The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. 50+ million copies sold on that. Let's hope Phantom Liberty does show up well when it is at Summer Game Fest Playdays later in June. And progress on the next Witcher game is also mounting up. Elden Ring going to be having a sizable expansion. We'll see about that when it is ultimately revealed. Maybe we'll hear about that during Summer Game Fest, because Elden Ring was initially revealed gameplay-wise at Summer Game Fest, so that makes a lot of sense to follow up with the expansion being revealed. And Alan Wake 2, is the digital-only release really affecting you guys? Is that going to push you away from buying the game? Let me know. I'm really curious about that fact. I know a lot of you guys are also moving on into the digital world and you're buying all of your games digitally, but definitely want to hear from you guys about that. That'll do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.